Hey, what's up, world? It's me, Nate, host of this Artist Exchange radio show, and I'm here on this chilly Friday afternoon, well, evening, and we have a great show lined up for today. We have a great guest, another fellow actor and artist, and we're going to talk a little bit about the project that he has come up, his life post COVID and such. And we're going to just delve a little bit into, what the world will look like for artists and what the world is currently right now for artists. I want everybody to make sure that you're tuned in every Friday at 5 p.m. here to Be Exposed Radio. And you can call in, you can dial in 443-642-9403 if you have any questions for my guest today. And if you're looking for a platform to bring your show, or if you have a show, you need a new home for it, you definitely hit us up at BigExposedRadio.com, info@BigExposedRadio.com. It's a great place to jumpstart, refresh, or just start anew with a podcast, getting your voice out there. You can go to our website at www.BigExposedRadio.com and check out our latest news feed. We have a number of writers on the team now who are cranking out a lot of stories. I'm supposed to be one of them, but it's coming soon. Coming soon. I have to say, this week has been really challenging, but I want everybody who has been calling and sending messages. I appreciate all of your support. And right now, as you know, I'm sitting in the middle of the studio, so we'll be back up and running next week, Monday. And I just want everybody just to stay blessed, do your thing, be patient. The world is starting to open back up. Take your time and do the best you can to keep yourself safe as well as everyone else around you. So without further ado, I'm just gonna bring our guest on right now, Mr. Brian. If you can unmute yourself.
Hey.
Hey.
There I go.
Hey. How you doing today, sir?
I'm all right. How are you?
I am doing good. I am doing good. It's just I got a couple of days of some rest, and then today was like it's a whirlwind of stuff going on. But I'm here. I'm blessed. And how are you doing on this lovely Friday afternoon?
I actually am doing pretty darn. I'm doing good. I'm doing all right. I mean, as good as possible. Working all day. I work all day in school, and then I travel and perform. So I'm doing all right. I can't.
Well,
you're
actually just finishing a project, one play, and you're now at the tail end of rehearsal for the next one. How is that transitioning happening for you?
It's definitely a like you said, a transition for sure, because the show that I just got finished was a review, so to speak, but it was a review of like different musicals from different time periods. None of them were really contemporary except for the Hairspray one, and that was at the very end of the show. So everything was very classical music theater, very like, as we call it, legit singing, or that Broadway sound.
That's what they say.
Yeah, legit, whatever that means. And so then to go from there to go completely on the opposite spectrum and do full on like gospel, R&B, jazzy pop, just straight feet to the floor. Like, bah,
Well, you were
like open.
warming up your voice. That was a nice warm up. But if you don't know already, Brian Jeffrey is an actor, performer, and he is currently in the Afrocentrics production of
Art centric.
Dreamgirls.
Art
Artcentric.
centric.
What did I say? Afrocentric. Oh, I'm
Afrocentric.
sorry, my mind. The Afrocentric, Artcentric uh, theater group out of Morgan that started out of Morgan. Well, I think it's more so it was Morgan students who put together this group, and they've been doing a phenomenal job and been very consistent over the last few years in cranking out a number of projects. I think the last thing I saw from them was The Wiz, which they did at Motor House.
Yeah.
But they've been steadily growing and really giving Baltimore's theater scene a run for their money. And they're currently opening up this production at Center Stage. Really, that theater looks marvelous. Last time I've seen it, and you are playing what character again?
I'm playing Jimmy or James Thunder Early or Jimmy Early, whichever. He's
James,
like the
okay.
Yeah, he's the showman of the group. He's the one that gets the dreams pretty much their start. And he's more or less he's used. That's what most people don't understand. Right. He's used from the beginning of the show. He's used to jumpstart and put somebody else on the platform, and then pretty much left to
if you saw the
his
movie,
own vices.
That character was played by Eddie Murphy. That was the Eddie Murphy's character in the movie Dreamgirls.
Yeah. Yes.
I love this piece. This is one of my favorite pieces, musicals that is, next to Pearly. And it has a very infamous history in that it is allegedly the story of Motown, the Supremes, and Berry Gordy being the prominent characters that are supposed to be allegedly being represented in this piece. Shirley Ralph, and I'm trying to remember the other two names. My mind is gone right now.
Loretta Devine.
They originated this, Loretta Devine and Jennifer Holliday were the original Dreamgirls. And this piece has gone on. I don't care how many times you see Dreamgirls, you always are willing to see it again. And this piece, I'm sure Artcentric is doing their thing. I've seen a number of the castmates that are in it that are familiar to me, and I can't wait to come out and see it. And I was just introduced to this gentleman who is coming down to Baltimore and doing this thing. He's actually a Morganite as well, returning to Baltimore. And how excited are you to be a part of this production?
I am like, so Dreamgirls is one of my favorite shows. So the fact that I'm even able to do it again for like the 9th time is amazing. So I'm excited because it's literally on a different platform than it's ever been on. Like Artcentric, while Artcentric is not necessarily a small theater anymore, it primarily had us in our own community. Do you get what I'm saying? So now being as though like we're having this pretty much the first Black partnership with a major regional theater in that area, let alone Baltimore Center Stage, this is going to be it's so exciting, and it's such a lift for Artcentric and for every single artist involved on the front of the table and behind the table. So yeah.
Right. And if you've seen anything from Artcentric or even from Center Stage, both of those entities coming together, there's going to be some magic and some awe on that stage. Center Stage has a way of transforming that small space into something that you're like, where did all this come from? And I've seen some great work from Artcentric in terms of as they begin to grow and mature as a theater company and now a theater organization here in Baltimore. I'm really impressed at the growth, and I can't. I'm sure you stepping into this is going to be like coming home again.
Yeah.
And how long have you been working as a professional artist?
I haven't, okay, this is such a loaded question. The easiest answer is to say since I was 3. Literally since I was 3.
Okay.
My first professional show, I was 3 years old. And then it just snowballed from there. Of course, I had that period where it was like, I'm not supposed to be doing this. Is this for me? Because we get so crippled, if you will, by the slowdown. But I'm a witness. If you just keep on going, and it will work out. Because I'm telling you, I have this saying where I say that, what is for you will never miss you. And it hasn't. Even when I took my hands off for a second, I was like, God, all right. It happened. So, and it was just a thing. I get offer after offer, deal after deal. I'm like, well, all right. Come on, Holy Ghost. I see you.
It's definitely, people don't understand. Even, I mean, this pandemic, I think, showed a lot of people what perseverance really is. I don't care how much money you had or what you had going on before. You definitely got a dose of, you need to be humble. You need to be humble. You need to be thankful and always focused on your lane. But for Black artists, Black actors, specifically theater actors, more specifically, it is not easy keeping that ball rolling because they only make space for one or two of us to be stars. There's always just it is as if it's not enough room for all of us to create, and we definitely seen with the burst of streaming networks that it's possible. Even within the theater community in a city like Baltimore, there was room for all of us to achieve and not worry about art centric coming in and stealing the ticket sales from da 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 Black group. It is definitely room for all of us to do it. I think I'll go back to when I saw The Wiz in Baltimore. It was 3 other companies doing that same play, but it didn't stop either of them from doing it. And I hate how they make us as Black artists feel like it's only room for a few of us to get through. But when we look at other cultures, it's a plethora of representation. But I think this last year or two has shown us just keep moving, find your space, and do your greatness in that space, and everything else will work itself out. But just keep doing it.
I so agree.
What made you decide to be a professional artist? Because it's one thing doing it in school, where ain't like you got a full-time job and kids to take care of. But once that diploma has been handed to you, real life happens. So what prompted you to make this your career?
It was just the drive of everything that I've worked for in my life. Everything that I worked for from my mom put me through school, through all the Pennsylvania ballets and the Morgan States and the University of the Arts and the travel. It's like, at what point is this going to pay off? At what point are my gifts going to speak for me? Do you get what I'm saying? And the thing is, it's like, also, I always tell people, well, I want to do it because I wanted to be famous. And they're like, what do you mean be famous? And I don't mean famous in like the money and the glitz and the glamour. I'm talking about famous meaning that once I get to that level, that means that my story has touched the world. You get what I'm saying? Like there's something about what I possess and what's in me has touched almost everybody. You know what I'm saying? So and people want to watch me. So it's just like, okay, I gotta drive. And it's also to make me feel good as well.
Right. To be a stage actor, that immediate gratification is why many of us continue to do it.
Mhm.
Most people who don't do that don't understand it. Even somebody who does it for TV and film, they don't get that often, get that immediate gratification. So you don't know what that adrenaline rush feels like, or that, looking out there and you can hear the papers crinkling, you can see the person on the damn cell phone, you can feel them in your presence. So how much of that passion goes into the roles that you choose and the productions that you choose to be a part of?
Um, all of it. I I'm known
Mm,
for quote unquote embodying a character. I don't believe I'm not a
mm,
traditionalist when it comes to art in my artistry. So it's like I have to find a way to make
mm,
it about me without taking away from the integrity of the role. Because some people can make it
right.
about them and completely just change the role to something that it's
Mm,
not supposed to be. So it's just like, so I believe in, I won't say a method actor, because I can do that too, but method, but I'm just saying that when I'm on, I'm on. I leave it on the stage.
mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm,
and whatever passions, I don't believe in having the same show twice. You'll have a similar show,
mm,
obviously, but not the same show, because I believe that every single audience deserves to get every single bit of authenticity and originality
mm,
that you bring. I'm not going to bring you an autocopy. I'm not going to do that. No. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give you your show for you every single day. So yeah.
So getting real quick, shifting back to Dream Girls, uh, you're just coming from Philly, uh, and you're just joining your cast for the rehearsal process of this. How has it been so far? Like, first describe that the work of an artist, because the job of an actor is to get the job. So doing one piece and getting another role, describe that process and then what it feels like right now to be kind of thrust into their rehearsal process.
Well, I mean, it definitely was. It was. It's definitely something that you cannot get get a handle on if you don't have any experience. Okay, if you're unexperienced, you'll just fall apart. But it teaches you how to pretty much, as we say, work in rep. You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
it teaches you how to do that. So for the past few years, it's been like this. It's been different because I'm traveling. I said, coming from Philly down to Maryland. So it's like, get off work, drive 2 hours and some change, go to rehearsal, do that, come back,
Mm-hmm.
you know, um, and do the process. So it's definitely, um, it takes commitment, it takes drive, and it takes a willingness that I have found that a lot of people lack in this newer age. They want everything just to be handed to them or given to them. It's like, no, you got to do work. Like you have to put in the miles, put in the blood, sweat, and tears, get frustrated, but you gotta want it. Like you have to want it. And I feel like that want is so it's there, but it's not solidified for a lot of the younger people. I just want them to like kind of just be hungry. Be hungry for it. So that's what
Right.
helps me do it. Just being hungry.
Right. And well, today's topic is actually when failure isn't a option, and that one sometimes is not enough. Is not enough. And because surely wanting something will help you get closer to it, but you have to need it. You have to definitely get some crowd support, and understand, this is especially when you're an artist. And I equate it, so artists are needed just like, a doctor is needed, just like the police are needed, just like, the government officials are needed. And I think we learned throughout this pandemic how much of a necessity the arts are, because without the versus battles and all the virtual plays that we all had to take part in, and all the programming that we got from that, we realized the necessity of artists. But you have to, in my opinion, and I agree with everything that you're saying, but you need to want it, and you need to feel like it's a need. The same energy that you would put into making somebody else's dream come true, i.e., a 9 to 5, you have to put that same energy into it. And there are plenty of people who will tell you how to do this, how to be an actor, and what the business is. But until you're actually, leaving one work and driving 2 hours and going back and forth, for little to no pay sometimes, you won't understand what that drive is. When what you're getting paid basically paid for all those tolls and all that gas money.
Exactly.
And maybe a burrito from 7-Eleven.
Which is funny because I had some pizza and a little kebabs from 7-Eleven one day because I didn't have time to get anything else. And that's what I'm saying. That's why I say it's a hunger. Like, it's like when you're hungry, you have to nourish that hunger, or you're going to be in pain. You're going to be sick. You have to eat. And that's the thing. It is time to eat. That's what I'm trying to get to these artists now, even young and old, but especially the newer generation. These, what are they called? Gen Z or something, whatever they're called. It's just like, it's time to eat. It's time to eat. It's time to nourish that thing. Like, everybody keeps talking about, oh, I don't want to work for anybody. I want to be my own boss. Well, do it. Eat. Let's go. Get on the grind.
It's very hard. That's a very hard thing to think about, though.
It's hard, but you're never going to know unless you do it. They always say the hardest part of the journey is taking the first step. Take the first step. You're going to get, and I know this sounds very cliche of what I'm about to say, but it's so true. You are going to get 1,000 no's before you get a yes. And all it takes is one. One yes. One yes in the right opportunity will splurge you into a pool of just endless stuff. Like, I'm telling you, I got sick back in December 2018, I want to say, and I was down. When I say sick, I was in the hospital for 8 days, and I was down for like the month after, and I had like a port in my arm, and it was going into my heart to like make sure, like, I had something like sepsis. It was a whole bunch of things. My face looked like Emmett Till, like it was bad. I'm sure I have it on my Instagram somewhere and Facebook. And it was bad. And I said, oh my God, I couldn't hold a note for more than 5 seconds without getting winded. I couldn't talk. I was on breathing treatments. It was crazy. I couldn't walk or nothing. So literally the day I got the port out of my arm, I'm not exaggerating, the literal day I got it out. That night, I started rehearsals in Virginia for another show. I didn't audition for anything. But I'm telling you, do the work. Your work will speak for you. Your work will speak for you. And it will pay for you. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So
one of my close friends and now mentor Troy Burton said to me, don't chase money. We were having a conversation within a group, and that was something he said out of his mouth. Don't chase it. If this is for you, as you said at the beginning, it's for you. and nobody can take it away from you. Nobody can, be a doorkeeper. Nobody can block you. And roadblocks can be put in your way. Monkey wrenches can be thrown into your plan. Self-sabotage can happen. But if it's for you, it will be for you. And I had a real thankful moment last week, and I posted on my post, and I'm never really that transparent with things, but I just thank people, anybody who have given me a ride from rehearsal or to rehearsal, or out of the blue, took me to lunch. This world, especially if you're coming from academic artistry, you can be hungry, and you can be hungry a lot. And people don't realize, not just mentally but physically. You know, we have to figure out that thing within ourselves. That's why I really love the art centric brand, because it was a number of Morgan students who chose to continue their education and take what they've learned from that institution and from their various outlets and put that together and work together. We don't see that a lot in our groups, because that's why I said it takes more than me wanting it. It really takes the community, because I can go out there and produce a show and learn my lines, but if nobody comes to see it, it you know
there's no point.
It works, but I can play to those 5 people that show up, but that's an ego blow, and that often takes the wind out of people. But we need the audience, just like we need the tech, just like we need the costumer, just like we need the actor. And it's a blessing to be able to do this. And I think a lot of artists, even probably when you were down in 2018, I think that probably showed you just how much you wanted this, just how much you wanted it. And I remember saying, I don't want to be an actor anymore. I'm going to just be a stage manager. And I remember being a horrible stage manager, because I was focused too much on what they were doing on stage. I wanted to be on the stage. And I felt like I had given up on that dream, but the yearning, the urge to do it, sitting in your room learning monologues just because nobody told you learn that monologue, but because it's in you. So do you do more musical theater, or do you do what we consider like a straight play?
I do.
Or does it matter to you?
No, it doesn't matter. It literally just depends on what's getting me. I'm actually in talks right now with a pretty known, I can't say the name, but a pretty known director who is doing one of their original plays. Can't really say what that is. But they are, they're in talks with me of me. They're in talks with me of possibly playing the lead in it. And it's a straight play. And it will be done in Atlanta next year.
Okay.
And I think they're starting there, and they said possibly touring out. Also, the other project is, we'll see, possibly be doing a staged reading here in Philly with a theater, hopefully, and we'll see if something else, in January. So I do a lot of straight plays, and I do a lot of musicals. And it's funny because some people don't know that I do straight plays, and then some straight play people don't know that I do musicals. And then that comes down to the singing, acting, dancing.
It could be two separate worlds at times.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It definitely feels like two separate worlds.
Definitely. And it's hard. I tell people it's hard because at first I thought I had to choose a lane. And then after a while, I'm like, no. God gave me the ability to act, to sing, to dance, to write, direct. I'm going to do all of it. And guess what? And the moment I accepted the fact that, hey, you can just do it, I did it. And now it's finally, I don't feel slighted. Yeah, I don't feel slighted. That's the key. Accepting that you can do these things. We don't do that easily. You know what I mean? We'll accept
Mm-hmm.
we'll accept that other people can do it, but it's like me? Nah. It's finally accepting. Like, they say acceptance is the first part of the journey or of the recovery, whatever. Yeah, like we're all recovering addicts because we don't want to admit it about artists, especially, and Black people. We're somewhat addicted to denial, to oppression, to belittling ourselves. We're addicted to the darkness of it. And so
Mm-hmm.
the acceptance is knowing that, wait, I can do this. I've been in my own way this whole time. Because we can't blame everybody else. Okay, for the first few
Right.
times, sure. For the first few times, sure. But after a while, it's like, no, it's not everybody else. What are you doing to change that? So that's what I did. I accepted the fact that I was in my own way, but at the same time accepted the fact that I can do these things, and I made it happen. And now here we are.
Right. But that takes a lot of, for that type of self-awareness, it takes a lot of community
Hmm.
because a lot of us, there's a lot of people out there who are on that I got mine now, you got to get your type of mentality. But it's time for us to work together. And I've seen throughout this pandemic how working together is beneficial for all parties concerned. So
Yeah.
that takes a lot of us dropping a lot of that past baggage that we've been carrying. And it's been
Hmm.
comfortable because getting high off of that story, as Ian Levanzetta say, many of us have gotten high, as you were saying, off of that story. And we are comfortable living in that space of, I have to, we have to struggle. One of the things that I ask to a lot of my students is we are one of the things that I give to my students a lot is, can you be an artist and not struggle? And I'm not saying, with the money and stuff like that, but can you be an artist without carrying with you the struggle? I'm hungry, I'm broke, my dad wasn't there, or I didn't have the money, or I gotta live in this apartment with five other people until I make it. That the physical struggle will be there. Those things will be there. But do I have to carry that along with me, even as I begin to open doors? Do I have to carry that struggling artist mantle with me despite achieving or growing or actually doing it? Can I drop that struggle? Do you think we can be artists without the struggle? Black artists without the struggle?
To be honest, no. And let me tell you why. I'm gonna say why. Because that gives us that much more of inspiration. And there's a reason why um, Black artists, why we're now so held in high regard, because
Mm-hmm.
we're able to use our experience, both ancestral and now,
Mm-hmm.
to drive our performance, to drive our artistry. Everything feels real. Some might mask it in different ways,
Right.
but it's real. Like we could talk about, let's take twerking, as we call it. Twerking, people are like, oh, that's, they just being fake. But twerking is really African dancing. It's from but
Mm-hmm.
we just found a way to present it
Right.
to present it to you. You see it as that way, but this is really an art form. Try to do it and you can't. Not like we can. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with
Mm-hmm.
singing. Same thing with acting. We're able to find those inner dark parts and release it. And the problem is that a lot of people, because artists are psychologists, I don't care what anyone says, we're able to dig into parts and just like, oof, what
Right.
happened? It's kind of like, people don't understand. that your pain is always going to bother you until you put it down. And that's what our art is. It's us putting everything down on the floor. Say, leave it on the floor, leave it on the stage, leave it on the paper. That's our release. You know what I mean? It's like it's always going to be heavy if you don't have that outlet. So if you have a glass of water, right? And you hold this glass of water straight out in front of you. Of course, it's only an 8-ounce glass of water. It's cool. But if you keep your arm straight out, a couple hours go by, it's going to start to get heavy. You keep holding it out. If you hold it out for a few more hours, it's going to start to get, it gets heavier. Your arm going to start tingling. Your arm going to get numb. Your hand's going to cramp up. And the reality of the fact is that the water never changed how heavy it was. It never changed. But your arm, you holding on to it, your body start being affected by how much and how long you're holding on to this stuff. And the moment you put it down, then you get the feeling back in your hand. Then you can move on to the next thing. Like, oof, I'm glad I put that down. You get what I'm saying? So it's that's what the art is. That's what the art is for us. It's laying it out on the table, finding creative ways. Sometimes we don't even make up characters anymore. We just say it like it is. And sometimes that's the best story. You know what I mean? And that's what people love about Black art, that we're able to present to you this nonfiction. Even if it's with a fictional character, we're able to give you our nonfiction story to help you understand where we're coming from.
One of the things that I see from that, and the question, can we be artists without the struggle, is I think for too long we've held on to all the pain. We can't do anything about the history or the memory of that history, but at some point we have to heal. We can be method actors and be able to tap back into that moment because we won't forget how it made us feel. But I'm at a space right now where I have to heal. I can no longer hold on to those stories and those segments of my life and the history that I'm standing on top of. I can no longer be unhealed. I think for too long we've given the world our pain in the form of entertainment. And we have all these artists that we've lost and are losing, and unfortunately will lose without seeing the spectrum happen to them. We've seen them grow, we've seen them hurt, we've seen them be destroyed, we've seen them at the peak of that destruction, and then that's it. So I think that's when I ask that question is in reference to that. I don't ever want to forget it. I don't ever want it not being taught to our children. I don't ever want it being shown in movies and television because I don't want to repeat that history. So I think seeing it helps us to make decisions to do differently. But no longer do I want to entertain the world knowing that I'm still in pain. I don't want another Whitney Houston or another Michael Jackson, or I don't want another Nina Simone. I don't want these people to exist and as they have existed any longer. I don't want that to be, the story anymore. I want to see people healthy and vital and healed and still being able to show that history and tap into it, but not have to go and do some coke or drink, a whole gallon or get high after they get off that stage. I don't want that to happen anymore to our artists. And we know too many people personally and within history that have had to do that just to cope, just to go back out there the next day for the next show and pour all that pain out on the stage again.
And it's all about. I think
that's where I'm at.
Yeah, and I totally agree. It's all about communication, and people. It's all about communication and conversation, which is one thing that the world has been so scared to do. Communication and conversation. That's how we start that. That's how we get that to be better. You know, um, it's just like, I swear, I'm like I don't know what I've become. I've become like this this anecdote type person lately, but it's just like I always like to say, let it hurt, let it heal, and let it go.
Mm-hmm.
And that goes for whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, let it hurt, let it heal. Like, sure, I'm upset that all these things happen to us. Of course, I'm a black man in America. Duh, of course. But at what point? But it's like, if I'm not having these conversations, if I'm not communicating and having conversation, there's no point. They need to know how I feel. We can't be tight-lipped and be afraid about, oh God, what are they gonna think? No, it's like, I don't care what you're gonna think. This is the story. This is how I feel. Now I can move on. Now you can be upset about it, but I'm not. You know what I mean? Like, hey, this is the truth.
Right.
This is what happened, and then we can move on. Yeah. So I don't want to be. I'm not going to be oppressed.
Beyond Dream Girls, are there any roles that you want to do? Any plays you want to act in? Or I know you just talked about something that you possibly will be doing, but outside of that, are there any productions or any directors you want to work with? Or
yes, I have been dying to do a soldier's play, a soldier story. Like, I want to do that so that, like, I don't think people understand. I want to do that so bad. I'm like, oh, just let me get in there. Just what? Then I want to do Top Dog, Underdog. I really want to do that. That's like on my.
When did you see? Have you seen it done?
Oh yeah, I've seen it done. I think the very, very first time I saw Top Dog Underdog was, I want to say 2005 or 2006. And I've seen it a few times after that. But it was when I saw it, I'm like, I need to do that. I need to do that. Like, it's like, and I'm also, I just want to branch out. I just want to, I want people to see me. Like, I want my worlds to be crossed finally. And I think it's starting to happen. You see me as a straight play actor, but now see me in the other way. You see me as a music theater, now see me this other way. So, because it's just who I am. I have a lot of stories. I write my own as well. I was a part of Q Fest for not this last one. I was the one before that. I did a show. I mean, I wrote a short play that was compiled from a longer one that I wrote. So I had to pretty much write a whole new show called I Love You Too, Dad. And it was about pretty much the last moments that I had with my father before he passed and how it pretty much affected me as a man now. And it was really quick. It was just the fact that the night that my dad died, September 8th, 1993. He passed at 9:08 p.m. So it was like 9:08, 9:08. That was like it was weird. And he was 25. And his last thing, we were at church, and he said to me, he was like, he always called me Rockhead. He said, I love you, Rockhead. And I was like, I'm not saying that back. You know what I'm saying? And then he passed literally like an hour or so later. You know what I'm saying? So it was so I spent my life up until I really wrote that show, which was like a year or two ago, maybe 2 years ago. I spent my life saying, if I would have said, I love you too, Dad, would he still be alive? I spent years trying to figure that out. And so now, if someone says, I love you or love you or something, I will say it back. Even though it may be uncomfortable for me, I still say it back. Because it's like, you never know. You just never know. Yeah. So I'm very Yeah, so that's why I definitely want people to see my acting now, to see me, finally see me.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, yeah, that's where I'm at.
So will that be something that we'll see you direct soon, or?
You know what? Yes. Yes. There's no maybe. That's a definite yes. I also have 2 new musicals that I'm currently, well, one is finished. I'm praying to God to workshop it next year. I was going to do it this year, but Dreamgirls came about. So I said, let me push that to next year. And then I'm working on another one with a great musician and composer and singer. Oh my God, I'm so excited about this one. Based off a Black cult classic. And we're in talks with the actual writer of this Black cult classic, who wrote it. And, they're right now, they seem to be okay with this. So we want to see what actually happens once ever, how the stars get their mind. I'm not going to say what it is, but just I just wanted to keep the prayers up that it literally keeps streamlined going through. I've been very tight-lipped about it, because I believe, working silently is the best. And, and this generation does not work silently. They don't know what that is.
Right.
So I've been working very silently. I'm getting it nailed down to the floor. I'm getting lots of, I have 3 people on the team, but we're hitting it. I've been just writing and writing and writing. And because I love this Black cult classic so much, that's what I'm going to call it right now. It's just flowing. It's flowing. I'm so excited about it. My own mom don't even know, but she knows now. Hey,
so
I'm watching.
So we're going to take a quick commercial break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back with Mr. Brian Jeffrey. Don't go anywhere. Like, share, subscribe. Tell your cousin Peaches that Brian is on the Artist Exchange Radio Show. So we'll take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back. Don't forget to go to our website, www.beexposedradio.com, and check out our latest news, articles, and stories, and our latest shows on the station. And don't forget, if you're ready to cross over and bring that show over to Big Exposed Radio, we're here. info@bigexposedradio.com. Don't forget to also like, share, subscribe to our Instagram page, our YouTube page, and our Facebook page for the Artist Exchange Radio Show and Be Exposed. And follow Mr. Jeffrey as well. We'll put up his information in a few seconds, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
I've always been an open book, and it was time to write the story that God has been preparing me to share. Dear Tombstone is a glimpse into all of the hardest things that I've dealt with and that were sent to kill me, deter me, and delay me from fulfilling my purpose that God has set over my life. It is a journey down memory lane for me, but hopefully it encourages you to tell your story. It's now available on Amazon.
Can train and certify over 10,000 students in 10 years. We can renovate over 10,000 houses in 10 years. This is the Inner City Trade School Project, sponsored by Get With The Program. It's our time and it's our turn.
I feel like once we address the needs of the students, we can ensure that they'll be successful in the program.
The main idea is to know the safety of the program. And
do Black Lives Matter? Yes. Yes. We're going to show you how much Black Lives Matter, because we have a solution to the problem.
This school will help change the mindset of our young Black men.
And that's what we're trying to do, bring pride back to our community.
Substance use, anger management, mental health.
So here at the Inner City Trade School, that's what we're trying to build. That's what we're trying to create, an environment for our people to thrive.
I'm so happy to see one of my Being Exposed family members today. I want to get back on the station, but I definitely want to run my ad for my business on Being Exposed Radio. They are attached to so many different businesses and great entities here in the city. If you have a business, you definitely want to put your business out there, commercial, shout out, anything, and sponsor one of the great shows that's on Being Exposed Radio.
I've always been an open book, and it was time to write the story that God has been preparing me to share. Dear Tombstone is a glimpse into all of the hardest things that I've dealt with and that were sent to kill me, deter me, and delay me from fulfilling my purpose that God has set over my life. It is a journey down memory lane for me, but hopefully it encourages you to tell your story. It's now available on Amazon.
Can train and certify over 10,000 students in 10 years. We can renovate over 10,000 houses in 10 years. This is the Inner City Trade School Project, sponsored by Get With The Program. It's our time and it's our turn.
I feel like once we address the needs of the students, we can ensure that they'll be successful in the program.
The main idea is to know the safety of the program. And
Do Black Lives Matter? Yes, yes. We're going to show you how much Black Lives Matter because we have a solution to the problem.
This school will help change the mindset of our young Black men.
And that's what we're trying to do, bring pride back to our community.
Substance abuse, anger management, mental health.
So here at the Inner City Trade School, that's what we're trying to build. That's what we're trying to create, an environment for our people to thrive.
I'm so happy to see one of my Being Exposed family members today. I want to get back on the station, but I definitely want to run my ad for my business on Being Exposed Radio. They are attached to so many different businesses and great entities here in the city. If you have a business, you definitely want to put your business out there, commercial, shout out, anything, and sponsor one of the great shows that's on Being Exposed Radio.
Hey, what's up, and welcome back to the Artist Exchange Radio Show. I'm your host, Nate. One quick throw out there. I really am supportive of a lot of different businesses that we have here. I'm sorry, I was looking for something that I was supposed to announce, but the Artist Exchange is here for you. This is a platform for artists and entrepreneurs and community leaders to come to share your story, not only promote what you're doing, but share your story with a very unique group of people. And I want to continue to thank the people who support the show, support the station, support me as an artist. And I want to continue to do the work that I have to do. We've been kind of lax over the last couple of months because I've been trying to figure out how do we continue this show. And not only the show, but the brand of the Artist Exchange. As anybody who owns anything, you know it is very hard to keep it going. That becomes the job, maintaining the platforms, the business, the connections, the networking. So I want to just extend my arm out to any other shows, any other artists, any other community leaders, any other entrepreneurs who want to partner up with a platform that is for all of us surviving, all of us growing, all of us achieving. And I want to continue to thank the people who continue to support, continue to share, continue to send us all the blessings that we can hold. But without further ado, thank you again. But without further ado, I want to welcome back my guest, Mr. Brian Jeffrey. He is a part of Art-Centric's production of Dream Girls that is opening on November the 16th.
Really, it's November. Yes, the 16th. Wait, let me look. Make sure. Yes, November the 16th.
November the 16th to December the 12th.
Yes.
At Center Stage. If you go to centerstage.org, you can see the information for it. It's being directed by Mr. Kevin McAllister and music direction by Henry Krieger. Out. I'm sorry, did I say that wrong?
Yes.
I'm sorry.
So
we have a switch up. We have a switch up.
So I'm gonna tell you okay, so it is www.artcenter.org and Baltimore, centerstage.org. It's also, it is directed by Kevin McAllister. Henry Krieger is the one who created Dream Girls.
Okay, I'm sorry. No, did I say music direction? But I have to say music by. I'm sorry.
Yeah, music by. Yeah. We currently are, our music, we have the real big production. So we have 2 music directors and musical supervisor. So we have the music direction is Joshua Somerville and Cynthia Renee. And the musical supervisor is the co-founder of Art-Centric, which is Cedric D. Lyles.
Okay. Go ahead, Cedric.
He's a musical genius. I'm sure a lot of people know who Cedric is. And the choreographer is Shalise Hemby, or we just say Shay, like Shea Butter. And her assistant choreographer is Antonio Beverly.
Okay.
So they're pretty much our creative team. I'm just so excited about it. It's about to be we have a lot of powerhouses in this show. Yeah. It is, and all of them, like a lot of them have their own businesses, whether it be artists, whether it be like crafts of any type. Like, it's crazy. I'm so excited about this.
Dream Girls is a very huge production. I've never seen it with under like 25 people in it. It's a huge production, hence probably why they are partnered with Center Stage, amongst other reasons. But to house that type of cast, they needed a stage that could definitely welcome them. Tell me a little bit about rehearsals so far. How has rehearsals been going?
Rehearsals are, they're intense, to say the least. They are intense rehearsals because Dreamgirls is an easy show to learn because it's catchy from top to bottom. Like, whatever, it's an easy show. I don't know
anybody who hasn't seen it, so that probably makes it a little easier. But
if you haven't seen the musical, you at least seen the movie, which it's an easy show to learn, but it's not an easy show to put up. It's not an easy show to get in your body. You can learn it, but
it's very fast.
Oh my gosh. Like, let me tell you, we have a joke for veterans of Dreamgirls. Like I'm actually a veteran of Dreamgirls. The moment you hear if that anxiety hits, it's like, oh God. Oh God. It's not that cowbell at the beginning of the show is like, I don't know, it's like Judgment Day or something. It was like, oh Lord, when the Lord comes back, I'm gonna hear cowbell. I swear. Like, so, but it happens in the first half, and it happens in the top of the second half. It's a you hear it, it's like, oh, here we go. Non-stop. And especially for my character, it's like go, 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 go. So it's definitely it's a task. It's a task.
Yeah. That's the one thing that I remember about that production. It's very fast. And most musicals still have it is built in to have breaks. And I don't know if that's for the actors or for the musicians, but this is one of those pieces where you need to know if this is what you want to do. And if it's not, it will definitely, by the end of it, let you know, maybe I need to find another passion, because this isn't, but it's a great piece. It's iconic. It's well known. As I said, Loretta Devine, Jennifer Holliday, and Shirley Ralph created this, and not in terms of it was all theirs, but they originated these roles. And since then, we've seen so many faces go throughout it, the creation of the movie, and it's still, every time you see it, it's like, it's a new piece. It doesn't feel like it's as old as it is, but it feels like a new, like something now that could be right now piece. But it's one of those pieces that I think every actor should try if you are musically inclined, and if you're a dancer, if you're a performer, this is a piece that will test you. Definitely.
Yes. Oh my God. It is literally the all-encompassing. I feel like if you don't do Dreamgirls as a Black artist, you can't do any other show. It is literally the musical theater boot camp for a singer, dancer, actor. It is, you have to have the highest energy. Yes, you can sing, yes, you can dance, but you have to act like it's everybody is seen in this show. Everybody. And and being one of the leads, it's so, like, I know for me, once I hit I don't get a break till like the last couple of scenes of each act. And it's like, it is literally, and people arguably say that Jimmy Early is probably one of the hardest, if not the hardest, musical theater role for a man. Especially like because it lives in the stratosphere. And
he has to be up like the whole time. Like, his character is up there, and it's very hard to start up here and maintain that, because there's nowhere else to go but down, and you're not allowed to do that.
You're not afforded the opportunity, even in the set, even in the dramatic, as we call it, parts. One of the hardest parts about Jimmy Early is, especially it's in the second half, knowing that you're performing to be fired, or knowing like you're bringing people with you just for you to be let go. You're rising people up just for you to fall. It's like, it's such a dramatic, to already know your end. You know what I'm saying? Whew, that just spoke to me. To already know your end. You know what I mean? It's like, oh gosh.
The story is very infamous. Most people who are fans of Motown don't like the movie, but it's the infamy that follows this movie, this production rather, is that of what it took for Black people to achieve. Sometimes we had to break the rules. Sometimes we had to, fight dirty as they fought. And this film, I keep saying film, this this production definitely shows how hard it's been for Black artists and entertainers, specifically in the music genre. Uh, we originated so much, but our name was taken off for so much. So often we had to fight a little dirty in order to, at least get a accolade for our hard work. But I love the story. I'm a big fan of Diana Ross. So I always love the story, and having Jennifer Hudson and Beyonce step into it in a film version of it. Which one do you like the most? I don't want to. I hate asking musical theater that question, but did you respect the film of it all?
Set me up. Well,
no, that's how I asked you. Was there I know because film can sometimes cut a lot of
corners.
The logistics, so you can get away with a lot on a film that you can't get away with on stage.
I'll put it this way. The film, knowing the story, if I never knew the musical, in terms of like saw it, I would say, oh my God, it's such a great film. Oh my God, what a great story. But knowing the show, it's like, ooh, this film is janky a little bit. It left a lot to the imagination, which it's like, one, Laurel, they completely downplayed Laurel. Like Laurel was just like, Michelle had more of a story than Laurel did. That's what it seemed like to me. And I'm like, well, that's not at all what it is. Laurel is actually the one that keeps the group together. She's the one that snatches the wig.
Freudian slip though, because you were thinking about the group that's associated with it, but I get it. I understand.
Yeah. Like she's the one that snatches everybody's wig, to be honest. Michelle, she's cool. Michelle has a deeper character because in the musical, Michelle, now, give you a little tidbit. Who opens the show? The stepsister, right? Michelle, in every production of Dreamgirls, whether it's Broadway or not, Michelle was one of the stepsisters. Then Michelle eventually becomes one of the Dreams. Nobody ever follows that streamline. Michelle was also the understudy always for Dina. Do you get what I'm saying? So it's always like nobody thinks about this. And I feel like the movie they made Michelle like some random girl that was looking for an autograph from Jimmy Early or Curtis, you know what I'm saying? And she was like, no, Michelle.
I think they tried to play up the youngness of the characters versus, the reality of who they were as individuals. But I think they tried to stay away from making it about the Supreme. So they had to kind of switch the story around a little bit.
There's no way to do that. So the and you can go back because they eventually talked about it. The stage version versus the movie version.
David says definitely I guess he said definitely the stage version.
Exactly. Actually, Malshana, I saw a comment and she's in the show with me as well. She's in the show with me. We talk about somebody that can sing. That girl, my Lord, today. But anyway, the stage version is great, but the story is about loosely. It's about Supremes. It's about the I think it's the Ronettes, and it's somebody else. I forgot the other girl group. I think they might even mention it. And I think they mentioned it in the show. The Supremes, the Marvelettes, the Chiffon, like it's supposed to be about them. if you go
Mhm.
back and look at the history,
All
you'll
of those
see,
girl groups, yeah.
yeah, it's those certain ones that came before the newer generation Motown. Then
Mhm.
James Early is literally about James Brown,
Mhm.
Otis Redding,
Mhm.
and what's the other guy's name? James Brown, Otis Redding, and it's Sam Cooke and
Crooners.
Little Richard. It's like those four. It's loosely because all of them. And I'm gonna tell you the right. The Sam Cooke one because he was the father of soul, as
Okay.
they say. That's what they say. So that's where you will hear that throughout the play. James Brown, when they called him the most electrifying man in show business or something like that, or a bit, and they called James Early the wildest man in show business. Otis Redding was a thing. Otis Redding, his was when his part of the story is how Otis, he broke away from the Temptations, and he had all this stuff, but they wanted to tone Otis down for all his stuff, and they wanted to do that to Jimmy, but that's when like the fall really happened. Otis was going through all that stuff, and he did die in a plane crash, but that's neither here nor there. But the Supreme same background for James Brown for a hot second. The Dreams the second background for James Early. The names aren't even clever. It's like, it was just, and they had a big lawsuit around the time this musical came out, or like a little after, but they couldn't, the writers won because they couldn't exactly, nobody could prove that they were talking about.
But if you're a fan of Motown, you know definitely that these people were being represented by the various artists, not just one or two, but the various artists that were hot at that moment. That's one of the things that I loved about it, because it forced me to go back and read about those artists that don't get the Diana Ross or the Otis Redding type of top billing. It made you research all of the artists, because you'll realize there was, a lot of representation, even though some of it is blended. Like your character has a crazy blend of characters, because they were all strong on their own. But this story is very historical. It has a lot of deep rooted meanings within our musical history, and even the time period that they were in. It's one of my, outside of The Wiz and Pearly, is definitely one of my favorite musicals. Oh, and now The Color Purple, now that's been made into a musical. But it definitely is up at the top of my list, because it's timeless. You can do this a million times every year, and it's done every year. But it always feels fresh. And I know Art Centric is going to put their little zhuzh on it and make it magical. And I'm glad that they're at a center stage doing this, because they're going to get the resources that are required to make a Dream Girl set come to life.
It is, when I tell you, the money and the tech and the everything going into this production this is about to blow it's blowing my mind. And like I said, this is technically my 9th production of this. I'm amazed. I walk in there every day and it's literally like, what? I'm like, what am I hearing? Like from each rehearsal, it's from rehearsal to rehearsal, there's like exponential growth. Like I said, you have the lead, you got Jodeci Millhouse as Dana, who's amazing. You got Shayla Lowe we have double cast couple.
Okay.
We have Shayla Lowe, who's another amazing Dana. 2 different takes. You got Crystal Freeman, who's Effie, and Katrina Bernay, who are 2 different Effies. They are stupid great. Then you got double cast seats. You have Quincy Vicks and Tyrell Stanley. I didn't think, I was like, there's no way in the world that they're going to be that different of a CC's, and it's like, what? And it causes me, it's like, and I'm cast as Jimmy, and you have Dana Neal as Data Nearing, as Curtis, and it's forcing us to double cast ourselves. You get what I'm saying? It's such an interesting and needed time on stage. You know what I mean? It's like, it's never stale. And that's the thing about the beauty of Dreamgirls. You can never go in and be like, I want to do the same thing I did yesterday. There's no way. There's no way. It's such a physically, vocally, and mentally demanding show. You will never, and like all the singers, Malshana, Ham, she's the Effie understudy. But Malshana has like solos throughout the show. This girl's voice she's one of Baltimore's greatest singers, in my opinion. Malshana
when I heard that this is what they were doing, I knew voice-wise, Morgan is known for its musical department. So I knew it wasn't going to be any half-stepping when it came to putting this on. And I can't wait. I really can't wait. I'm hoping I can get there on November the 16th because it's going to be crazy. I'm quite sure tickets are already going on, but you can go to either Artcentric's website or Center Stage's website right now and book your tickets. You're running for almost a month, so definitely get your tickets. And I'm looking at the dates. Get them tickets now. And in terms of us coming, because some people wait, and then they mad because they don't get the tickets that they want. And they got
my favorite is
run. Right.
Yeah, my favorite one is, do you have any more? You don't have any more tickets? Are y'all recording it? No.
That's not my job, sir. That's not my ministry. I'm here learning lines and songs. But get your tickets. But in terms of us going back from a pandemic, I just said my first show back in terms of being an audience member was going to see Blues for Alabama Sky this past weekend, weekend before last. And it was a little unnerving because I didn't know what to expect. And many theaters are going back to normal. They have been going back to normal for a few months now. And how did you feel? Because I know you're just coming from a show, still performing in the midst of this once you all were live with an audience.
It was so, I don't know, it was so strange because my first show back from the pandemic, in terms of live audience, because I did like a recording, but in terms of live audience was Shrek.
Okay.
At Toby's in Columbia, and I played Donkey. Go figure. And oh, what a time! I went to, I did that. So at first we did it. I had two first-time experience within one production. Okay, so when we did it, we did it with shields, and I had like what they call the Z shield. So it was this way, so my makeup with, and I could breathe. So the rest of the cast had like the regular shields. We had the Z shield, so it's just like hearing myself only, and like that layer of like, oh, they can't really see my face. So it was great. But I never forget when they said, we walked in one day for a show. It was like the last month of the show, because we were in for a while. They were like, hey, everyone, you could take your shields off now. We were like, huh? They're like, you could take the shield off. You could. And we were like, okay. And I'll never forget. It was such a surreal. I was like, I actually cried a little bit. I was like, oh my God, this is what it was like. I will never, ever take for granted the opportunity to do a show in front of people without a barrier.
Right.
I've never been, I was like, oh, I'm so excited. And then I did this other show in Delaware, and I was like, I went from Shrek. While doing Shrek, I went straight into rehearsals for Anne's show for Agnes Behaving. Went straight to Agnes Behaving, rehearsing the next show, went to that next review, and then went straight into Dreamgirls. So it's literally like, I was like, whoa. And
And they're all high
total.
energy shows too.
Yeah, I mean, just totally different shows, but just as much energy. And I'm so excited for Dreamgirls to be like that show where the world is really just open.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I'm so excited.
We're still in it, people. Please don't. We're still
wear
in
your
it.
mask. Wear your mask.
But there's a
Have your-
responsible way of doing this, and I was a little unnerved. I was a little anxious, but just knowing that artists needed this, you know, because it's one thing to do it where there's no audience and it's being live streamed. And I worked with a couple of those productions, and it doesn't feel the same. And many artists were going through great depression, especially live performance artists. And you could see the difference in people as we have begun to slowly get back to a semblance of normalcy in terms of how we're doing it. But I congratulate you all for really sticking in there and sticking through it, because a lot of people left. A lot of people like, I'm not doing this until we can get back to a live audience. So they missed kind of that transitional period. But as we kind of close out the show, I normally have a question. Well, my normal question to my guest is, what advice would you give to your 17-year-old self? And what question would you ask to your 100-year-old self? Not to change anything, but maybe, you know, soften that blow a little bit.
So what would I advise I give my 17-year-old self is you are enough. You are enough, and you're about to enter a world and a field where everyone else's opinion determines your success. And the only way for that success to come about and for them to accept you is to realize that you are enough. Whatever you are, be okay with it and let that work for you. You know, they exploit yourself before they exploit you.
Right.
And
That's a fair, that idea of, you know, going into the world, measuring yourself or allowing other people to be measure you by somebody else's stick is just understanding you are enough. Nobody can measure you but you.
Exactly. You're your own competition. And a question to ask my 100-year-old self would be, if you failed, or if you could do it all over again, would you? You get what I'm saying? That's the question. Like, if you could do it all over again, would you? And to be honest, I think my 100-year-old self would say, heck yeah.
Now, these questions, both of these questions or statements, rather, are good meditation prompts, because it tells you a lot about where you are right now. It tells you a lot about what you may be feeling right now. And you'll be surprised to know if you ask yourself this in a week, it may be a different answer, depending on where you are, or how you're navigating life at that moment. Is definitely a meditation prompt that I give to myself. Hopefully, I try to do it every morning, but sometimes, you know, that introspection, I got to just get it moving. I don't have the time to go in. Let me just go out and get it done. But I appreciate you for stopping by. Hopefully, I'll meet you soon. I know this virtual world is a norm that doesn't seem to want to go away. But I appreciate you taking the time to come out and join us. And I wish you and your castmates so much luck and so many blessings on your production. Definitely check out Dreamgirls. That's opening up this November down at Center Stage. You can go to Art Centric's website, or you can go to Center Stage's website to get your tickets and for ticket information. Can you let people know where they can find you at on social media?
Yes, you can find me on Instagram at Fonzworth J, it's the nickname they gave me. So FONZWORTHJ. You look at all my styles on there, you'll see why they call me Fonzworth. Or on Facebook, Brian Jeffrey Daniels. That's BRYANJEFFREY. Daniels, DANIELS. You'll see me. I usually come up either first or second, maybe third, depending. You don't really have to type in that much. Yeah, but just to spell out the website, because I find a lot of people type the wrong website. It is Artcentric is www.artcentric, ARTSCENTRIC.org, and Baltimore Center Stage is www.centerstage.org. That's center, CENTER, stage, STAGE.org. And you will see everything. I usually post everything on my Facebook and Instagram. So I'm sure I see some comments. People are commenting
Miss
on
Gabrielle. Thank you for tuning in. She said Brian is a star, one of the best performers in the game. And I looked through your social media as I was preparing for this, and just keep doing what you're doing. I love to see another positive brother representing his creativity and not being afraid to just simply be himself in a space and time where everybody's trying to be everything but self. So keep going. I wish you much success, much love, and I'll be there. I'll be the ghetto person singing along. I know all the songs.
We love that.
I'm going to be the loud person singing along, but many blessings to you, many, many, many blessings to you. And we'll definitely share out the links to the social media. We're going to try to have him back on once he catches his breath from the from the fast-paced world that is Dreamgirls. Hopefully before he goes back, not only permanently, but before he leaves Baltimore again. But thank you again. Was there anything you want to say about or any last words that you may have?
Yeah, I just want to tell everybody that it's your world. Be the creator in your world. That's it. Just be the creator. Don't worry about everything that's going on. Everybody has content. Everybody has content. Share it. Somebody needs it.
And there's room for all of us. There's room for everyone. All of us. All of us. Room.
That's right. All of us. Be legendary. That's on my bio. That's everything. Just be legendary. Okay.
This has been another edition of the Artist Exchange Radio Show. Check us out every Friday at 5 p.m. Don't miss it. Catch out. If you missed the big part of this interview, you can go to Be Exposed's Radio on YouTube, or you can go to our Facebook pages on Be Exposed Radio or the Artist Exchange and catch the entire show. Thank you again, Brian. Thank you again for everybody that's tuning in. Please like, share, subscribe, and support this man. Join him for Dreamgirls. Peace out, everybody. Goodbye.
Right.
Thank you, sir. I really appreciate it. I apologize. This